We've been around 30 plus years. And we clean energy, clean transportation is our monthly industry meeting. We meet every month. Um, Same place, same time from 10 to 11. And we give updates on the clean energy, clean transportation sector. We also talk about some of the good things that some of our members and partners and stakeholders are doing. You'll hear from three amazing you'll hear from three amazing people today, and then we'll also talk about some of the um, upcoming activities that the organization and some of our projects that's going on. But I want to just always level set the conversation. And one is that we are a membership based organization. So if you're not a member of the organization, please join. We do have some great things coming up. First and foremost, next Saturday, April 19th, we will have our Earth Day walk and Green Expo that will take place on the National Mall uh, at the corner of 3rd Street Northwest and Madison Drive Northwest. You get a chance to walk down to the Washington Monument and walk back. You don't have to walk the whole, you can do down the block and come back, or you can walk the whole route like I'm going to do. But you'll have a good time. We'll also have a lot of exhibits, so it's not too late to exhibit as well. National Mall, as you know, was always busy on a Saturday, so come on out. There'll be vehicles on display. We're going to have a number of information tables. We're going to be giving away a couple EV charging stations. There'll be food giveaways, lots of prizes and surprises as well. And we're doing a collaboration with WSA9, so they have all of their media team will be out there. So you might be able to get a cameo, Brian, on TV. I know you love being on TV, so you might be able to, or you'll be out of town in North Carolina, but some of you who will be around, it'll be exciting. So this is a annual event. Next year, we're going to have not just a walk, but we'll have a walk and a run. But this year, we're just doing the walk. So we're really excited about that. So register for it. We do need volunteers as well. We'll try to put that in the chat. So we do need a ton of volunteers. Anyone that walks gets a free T-shirt. Anyone that volunteers gets a free T-shirt as well. So you make sure you do that as well. We do have a golf tournament coming up June 17th, which will be I'm sorry, that will be in July, our golf tournament, July, I think 8th. And then also in terms of we have an environmental justice summit that will be taking place in June. It's going to be at Howard University. And so make sure you save the date for that. That is going to be in June. So make sure you say, I think it's June 17th, but we'll make sure we put that in the chat as well. So lots of great things happening. The last thing I want to mention, and I'll come back around with some other updates as well, is that our annual report, we're winding that down as well. So all of you who are in the fleet space or you're in the clean transportation space, annually we complete an annual report with all the good work that you all are doing, and we take that information on some of those efforts to reduce greenhouse gases and emissions. We roll that up into an annual report that goes to the U.S. Department of Energy's Vehicle Technology Office, and that report is then information is shared nationally. And we also use those reports to give out awards every year. So who's reducing the most greenhouse gases and emissions? Who's training people? Who's holding workshops? Who's investing in clean transportation? And whether it's the public or private sector. Again, that information is then rolled up into a national report. So we have until about another week and a half to collect data from 2024. So let us know if we've been reaching out to a lot of the fleet. So make sure that your sustainability staff and your fleet staff respond to our emails and calls. Well, we've been pushing on that very, very aggressively. So without further ado, we do have three wonderful speakers today. But before I call on them, I wanted to just give our board chair, I see her on, and Jill Hamilton, who has been helping out her and her team have been helping out very, excuse me, um, very aggressively with our Earth Day walk and run. She's been helping raise money for the event as well. Jill, floor is yours.
Thank you, Anton. Well, I just want to welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining and participating. And I really want to just reiterate what Antoine was saying, that this walk is really an important opportunity. It's our first one, and we really need to make sure it's to continue it and to continue to get the support of Channel 9, USA, WUSA 9. We need to have a good showing. So we're calling on all of you to participate. Please bring your friends. Please reach out and share it with your church members, et cetera, et cetera. Just be really bold about it, and let's have a good showing. It's also an important time to share a message with some of the congressional members. We are doing a push to get some of the staff, even though it's the day before Easter. I think we're going to try to make a push to get some of the staff members there and let them know how important this is to our economy and to our businesses. So please take this seriously and participate. So just wanted to encourage you all. And if you're not a member, please join, because we're fighting for you and we need that support as well. Thanks, Antoine, for letting me give a shout out. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. And we're really excited. I was up early this morning, and I must have seen the commercial on WUSA 9 about 10 times this morning. So
I've been watching them too. So it's great publicity. Great publicity.
Yes, yes. So all the good work that we're doing, it'll all come together next week. Everyone's green for Earth Day, right?
That's
Earth
right.
Month, right?
All right.
So next, what I like to do is I want to bring up our speakers, and we'll call them in alphabetical order. Brian Boer, who is Senior Planning Specialist for Zero Emission Vehicles, Montgomery County Department of Environmental Protection, just had an amazing energy summit earlier this week, and a fantastic job. I think it wrapped up yesterday. So Brian, the floor is yours to give us some great updates on some of the amazing work that's happening in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Thank you, Antoine. We're going to pull up the slides. And Antoine's right. We just came off of 2 days for our Montgomery County Energy Summit. It's an annual event. We have a date for next year. In case you didn't make it this time around, you want to come out next year, it'll be April 28th and 29th of 2026. And like I said, it's an annual event. It was actually the 12th year that the county has been putting on the Energy Summit, and we bring out building performance professionals, property owners. It's a really great opportunity. Just be on the lookout for the date next year. So yeah, this update about what's going on with EVs in Montgomery County. Next slide. So I always like to start off and set the table for why electric vehicles are so important to the county. We have a climate action plan that sets out some ambitious goals of an 80% reduction in emissions by 2027 and 100% reduction by 2035. As we all know, it is the year 2025. We have a lot of progress to make in order to meet these goals, but what that means for us in the county is that we have the support of our county leadership to try bold things, really pursue all the opportunities we can, and always be moving forward. Being able to meet these goals for transportation, which makes about a third of the emissions in the county, means we need to transition our on-road vehicles to electric vehicles, as well as reduce vehicle miles traveled, get more people walking, biking, using public transport. But if you have to drive, driving an EV is really the best thing that you could be doing. Um, EVs on the grid here in Montgomery County result in about 75% lower emissions from driving and 50% lower emissions in the total life cycle of the vehicle. We promote the fact that EVs have a lower cost of ownership, and they offer this convenient the convenience of being able to charge at home or at work. So you don't have to go to the gas station again. You can wake up every day with a full charge. And for all these reasons, EVs are for everyone, and EVs are getting more affordable. And we want to make sure that people have the opportunity to get an EV if that's what they want. And a big piece of that means we need to be expanding the charging infrastructure in Montgomery County. Next slide. So just a quick overview of the strategies. I mentioned expanding charging infrastructure. The first one on our list is educating residents and businesses about the benefits and the opportunities that are out there. We have a EV purchasing co-op program, dealership incentive program that I'm going to talk about in a second. We are currently planning to develop and launch a how to charge campaign, which would be a public service style campaign to educate people about the how-tos, the basics of charging. What do you do? How do you pay for it? What should you expect out of the experience? What do you do with the cord when it's all said and done? And so that's something that we're going to be putting together and hoping to launch later this year. We're also conducting outreach to property owners to make sure they understand the incentives that are out there for EV charging and for fleets. On the subject of EV charging, the county has been pursuing the state and federal grant opportunities that are out there. We have received a number of awards. Some of that funding is frozen. Some of that funding is still moving forward. So we are really hoping to get these projects implemented this year, and so people can start seeing new charging later this year. And in this process, we're collaborating with local jurisdictions, other organizations like Greater Washington Clean Cities, and we're looking to deploy models for public-private partnership at multifamily properties, at other commercial properties. A little bit later, I'm going to talk about our new food truck generator electrification grant program. Just put a little teaser, but we can move on to the next slide for now. Mentioned our EV purchasing co-op. So every month we promote the incentives and savings that local dealers are offering. We ask the dealers each month about those savings. They send us the deals when they have them. We update our website. So this is a great place to go for residents and anyone who's looking to buy a vehicle in Montgomery County to see what kind of deals are out there on electric vehicles before you start your shop. Next slide, please. So what are we seeing in the market? The market for electric vehicles in Montgomery County continues to grow. The county has the most EVs on the road of any other county in Maryland. We have over 40,000 electric vehicles on the road as of March. If you look back, 2023 and 2024 saw really high, accelerating levels of EV adoption. At the end of the year last year and in the first couple months of this year, it softened a little bit, but it still is, higher levels of adoption than at any time before 2023. So the market is still cooking here. We're still adding vehicles every month, and it's really exciting to see. Next slide. And if you project out these trends, we can see that in a few short years, we're going to have a much larger number of vehicles on the road. The green line there on the left is the sort of projecting out at the current rate of growth, if that continues. And then the blue line and the orange line are our state and our local goals. How can we accelerate adoption even beyond the current market baseline? You may have heard about how the governor of Maryland put out a executive order to not enforce the Maryland state Clean Cars 2 regulation for a couple of years. These would be the they were going to start enforcing this in 2027, at which point auto manufacturers in the state would be required to sell 43% of all the vehicles they sell were going to be required to be electric. So that we're delaying the enforcement of that law in Maryland. But in Montgomery County, we're really still hoping to meet that target and surpass it as much as we can in order to meet our own climate goals. But you can see we have some ways to go from where we currently are. It's going to be a stretch to hit a 50% adoption rate in 2025, but we're going to, we were at 22% year over year, or 22% of all new registrations in Montgomery County were EVs in the past 12 months. So we can approach that number even if we can't hit it. Next slide, please. So if you look at the total number of vehicles registered and plug those numbers into the Department of Energy's EVI Pro model, it tells you how much charging infrastructure would be needed to support a fleet of that size. And what we see in the market today, we have about 129 public level 3 ports, almost 750 public level 2 ports. And we estimate we have probably about 100 private workplace charging ports, about 100 multifamily charging ports. We're not exactly sure the total number. But if you look at, say we're going to hit 50,000 EVs on the road in 2026, the model says we still need a lot more charging to support that number. We may be a little, over the number that we need in terms of level 3, and maybe that makes up for some of the lack of level 2 that we have. But again, this is just a model, and real life often is different. So we're trying to figure out the exact right mix of charging in Montgomery County. Next slide. So one thing we're doing in terms of looking forward and looking at the built environment that we have is the county has just adopted the 2021 Green Construction Code. And in part of that Green Construction Code, the county included these specific requirements for EV-ready construction. And for multifamily properties, commercial construction for residential use, we're going to require 25% of all parking spaces at that property have to be EV ready, and another 65% need to be EV capable, for a total of 90% of those parking spaces with some EV charging infrastructure. You see the definitions there on the right side. EV ready means you need to have installed panel capacity and the conduit to accommodate the future build out. You don't have to have the EVSE equipment installed at that time, but we need the panel capacity. We need to have everything there so that the property owner, the tenant, the individual common ownership community, property owner can have that decision to put EV charging there if they want. EV capable, you still want the conduit, but you don't need to have the panel capacity already installed. Slightly lower or lower thresholds needed for other longer dwell visitor destinations and brief destinations, but we still want to have some EV charging infrastructure there. Next slide. And I mentioned at the front, I teased our food truck generator electrification program. So have you ever been to a food truck? We all love food trucks. The only problem is that sometimes it's really noisy and you kind of smell those diesel fumes. If you think about, for people working in the food truck all day, sitting on top of that generator, the noise levels are really can be damaging over time, but in the air quality is also not great. So we want to help these food truck businesses replace their gas and diesel generators with clean and quiet battery power systems. And we have a grant from the Maryland Energy Administration to provide incentives for 25 food trucks. Next slide, I'll tell a little bit more about this program. And this is a copy of our promotional postcard that we have for the program, which we will hand in through the window of the food truck at farmers markets and other events to let people know about this opportunity. If you scan that QR code, it takes you to the program website and the application form. Next slide. So there's two options for businesses. You can get a zero interest loan for up to $25,000 plus a $1,000 installation incentive. Or you can get a direct payment from the county of up to $5,000 or 20% of the total cost. The estimate about how much this costs, it depends on the size of the battery that the food truck is going to need. Can be between $10,000 up to $25,000 if you need a lot of battery for your operation. But this is great. I mean, if anyone, you have a commercial kitchen, if you have any customers that have food trucks or anything like that, please help us get the word out about this program. If you want to help be a promotional partner, please reach out to me, and I can give you all these materials as well. But we're really excited about this program. We've received a number of applications already, and we're hoping to get the first battery installed later this month or early next month. Next slide. And that's it for the slides I have. Here's my contact information. We'd love to collaborate on any EV charging projects, any EV education, and events that you have. We're happy to come out and talk to common ownership communities, multifamily properties about EV charging, and just want to do everything we can to support the adoption of electric vehicles in the county. Well, thank you very much.
All right, Brian, that was some great information. If you can just hold tight, I know people have questions. I know I have a couple questions for you as well. Next, I'd like to go to Ivan Faulkner, Director of Strategic Partnerships with It's Electric. She's got some good opportunities for you as well. Ms. Faulkner, the floor is yours. Welcome,
Thank
welcome,
you.
welcome.
It's so nice to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Eben Faulkner. As Antoine said, I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships here at It's Electric. Great to see Brian's presentation. Love seeing folks in local government pushing so hard on for EVs, which is also what I'm going to talk about. I was just about to say, Kim, if you could share my presentation. It's funny, I'm always used to doing it myself. So I'm with It's Electric. We are an urban EV charging company. We are 100% focused on helping city dwellers make the transition to electric vehicles. So love following Brian here. You know, it's interesting, if you live more densely, like most folks in cities do, the transition to electric vehicles is actually quite difficult. And one of the reasons for that is that a lot of people don't have driveways or garages where they can put in a home charger. We need those incentives. So again, big thanks to those of you who are working on those. We need those incentive programs to help private residents do that. But for a lot of people, the fact that they don't have a driveway or garage is the thing that means that they can't charge at home. So what we do is curbside EV charging. And before I go too far into the presentation, I'll just say curbside is a really is a more common model that we're seeing in parts of Europe, like in London, but it isn't robust enough here in the U.S. We have the good fortune of working with a number of cities to help them install curbside EV charging, and we are starting now to do that in DC, which is why I'm here today. If you can jump to the next slide. So there's two major differences about our chargers, their location and how they're powered. So the location, as I mentioned, we sit at the curb. Part of the reason that we want to do this is we want to bring charging closer to where cars are often parked in cities already, and that is at the curb. This, of course, means that we always have a partnership with the municipality first, because we are putting something in the sidewalk. But the other difference about our chargers is how they're powered, and connecting into a utility can sometimes take as long as 18 months to get the permit, and that's we need to move faster than that. As Brian was showing, those graphs that just keep going up and up. We need to provide the charging infrastructure to meet the needs that we have now and to meet the needs that we're all anticipating. So the other major difference about our chargers is that they're powered by buildings. Kim can jump to the next slide. I'll explain what that means. What we're doing is using the spare electrical capacity that many buildings have, not all, but many, to power our chargers. And what we're doing is running a shallow conduit from the building to the curb to power a public level 2 charger. And I always pause here to emphasize two things. It's public. So this is not, while it's connected back to the building, it is a charger that can serve anybody who lives in that area. And level 2, as Brian shared, this is really geared towards overnight charging. So as we're trying to make charging as convenient as possible, there's absolutely a need for destination charging, but we also want to make it so people can charge where they're already parking their car. You can jump to the next slide. There's no hardware installation costs for property owners or for cities when we're putting them at the curb. The chargers are separately metered, so those building owners are not going to see an increase in their utility bill from our chargers being there. And we are offering a revenue share back to those host property partners. It's technically 6 cents per kilowatt hour, but for those of you who don't speak kilowatt hours or dollars per kilowatt hour, we estimate this is $700 to $3,400 per year per charger. That's going back into the pockets of our property owners. And that's something that we're really proud of, since we really focus on making this easy for cities and easy for property owners to meet these needs. So again, there's like no, I feel like I'm like a salesman. There's no cost. There's no cost to the property owner for the installation. There's no increase in their utility bill, and they get passive income from hosting the charger. Next slide. We also own, operate, and maintain the chargers. So if there's any issues with them, we know they're networked. We'll come and fix it. And that installation process for those property owners is pretty straightforward. We're in and out in 2 days. Next slide. We can move pretty quickly. And actually, yes, this is exactly the slide that I want to be on. These are the 8 cities where we're doing curbside charging. You can see DC up on the list. And I'm here because we are starting a pilot now with DDOT in the district to expand access to curbside charging. So we are looking for host property partners. We're going to do, in the part of the pilot, we're going to do 1 site with 2 chargers per ward. So this will be 16 chargers across DC, and then hopefully we'll expand beyond that. But we're actively looking for host property partners with a real focus on multifamily. So if you all know of multifamily building owners who are getting this request for charging and maybe aren't ready to do the capital outlay in their own buildings, because it can be expensive, even sometimes with the incentives, we can do it for free. We can help them meet that need by having that super convenient charging right at their curb. I think this is my last slide. Oh, maybe there's nope, maybe go one more. I put my email address here. Please feel free to reach out if you know folks in the property space who would be interested in talking. I'm happy also to answer any questions afterwards, or if people want to follow up over email. That's it for me. Thank you so much.
That was amazing. You heard that. A lot of money to do some good projects around here. So if you have clients that are in the DC area, or I know we have a few property owners. Many of the folks on here own properties in DC. It's a great way to get that. I know Diane has a list of folks who've applied for projects in DC, and so we'll make sure we get that over to you and to Scene today or tomorrow. So we'll make sure we do that. Next, I'd like to go to Mel Hogg, who is policy analyst, DC Department of Energy and Environment. They're doing some amazing work also making a lot of great things happen with different clean transportation and energy efficiency work from buildings to the transportation sector. And thanks for being here today. Welcome, welcome.
Thank
And
you,
happy Earth
Anton.
Month.
Hey, it's April. Thanks everyone. Good to be here this morning. As Anton mentioned, I'm Bill Hogg. I'm a policy analyst at the DC Department of Energy and Environment. This morning I'm just going to go through some of what we're working on, some upcoming opportunities. I would love to hear from any of you all if any of this piques your interest or is relevant to you. So next slide, please. So we're currently pursuing a lot of charging opportunities throughout the district. We're trying to install chargers at a few city-owned sites at the Lamont Riggs Library, the Kenilworth Pool, and a DDOT site under I-695. The library site is in Ward 5. The Parks and Rec site, the Kenilworth Pool, that's in Ward 7, and that's replacing an existing charger that hasn't been working. And then the Marine Corps lot, I think that one will be sort of the most complicated one to get approved because it sits under a federal highway. So getting approval from the feds to install it there, and then also just some additional concerns around fire safety to ensure that that overhead highway will be structurally sound if there were to be a fire at the charger. We're also installing a charger at Benning Road. This is at a facility that is owned by a local taxi company, and the charger that is there hasn't been working. It's a Shell station, which is on land that they own. And basically it's used often by taxi drivers as well as the public. And so we're working to get that replaced. And then, as It's Electric mentioned, we're in coordination with DDOT to install on-street chargers in each ward. As it's even solicited, if any of you know of potential site hosts, this project is moving quite quickly. We're trying to get these chargers installed by the end of June, and so we're really looking right now to try and connect with site hosts of potential locations. So please definitely reach out. I've been working closely with the scene at DDOT, who's managing this project, to try and identify sites. And it'll be really exciting because there is a shortage of on-street chargers in the district. And so this is a great opportunity to do that. We're also coordinating with DDOT to pilot. We're providing some funds to purchase e-bikes for a pilot for food delivery and having sort of a central battery swap location. The idea here is to try and provide the mode of transportation for a lot of people who are doing food delivery who are often right now on gas-powered mopeds, and providing the opportunity to try an e-bike, which can often fulfill sort of that same need, is powered by a battery instead of a combustion engine, and I think has that similar sort of ability to weave through streets and pop in to get food and then deliver it, and so more nimble than a car, but also more sustainable than a moped. And then back in January, DOEE was awarded a $15 million grant from the Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Grant Program run by the feds. And then inauguration day happened. It's been on a 90-day freeze, and we're just sort of in a holding pattern to find out what is going to happen with that. I think it goes without saying, this money is slated to fund 450 charging ports throughout the district. If that weren't to come through, that would be a huge loss. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have a ton of information to know how this is going to pan out. But hopefully we'll know more soon by the end of the month. Next slide. So some policy updates in the district. At the end of last year, this EV charging legislation was enacted, and that involves a sort of a multi-pronged strategy to expand EV charging in the district. A neighborhood charging pilot, which DOT is overseeing, and that I think some of its electric work will go towards. It included mandates for making spaces EV ready or EV installed in new construction or sort of heavily renovated buildings. And then it include a provision for a right to charge for tenants and people who might live in a multifamily building where it can often be harder to solicit the building manager or the homeowners association, whoever it is, to get EV charging installed. That basically guarantees that if you want to get a charger, you have that right to have it installed. And then there's also a provision for DOE to expand on our transportation electrification plan, sort of ratchets up the ambition of that, and includes an incentive program that will be rolling out to try and fund EV charging in multifamily housing, and then also undertaking, a capacity constraint analysis to understand areas of the grid that can and cannot support EV charger installation, as well as a gap analysis in the charging network to understand where charging is, where it's not, like what are some of the sort of hotspots that we can target to increase EV charging. And so that work is already underway. It's a really robust piece of legislation, so I would encourage anybody to dive in if you want to know more. And then we are also trying to pursue some policy and incentive changes. These alternative fuel infrastructure credit is due to expire at the end of next year, and so we're trying to extend that in perpetuity because it's a really great sort of incentive program to encourage EV charging and lessen the burden of that installation cost. And then we're also trying to increase the opportunities for funding to install EV charging infrastructure. And so that's early phases, but hopefully we'll have some more to update on it first possible in that. We are also internally examining energization timelines and costs, recognizing that a lot of utility work required for EV installation is taking a really long time. It's a big hurdle to expanding EV charging infrastructure. And so we're seeing what some of the pain points are and how we can work with PEPCO to sort of make that go more smoothly. And if that is an issue that you all are confronting or working through, we would love to hear from you and sort of add a voice to the choir on that to strengthen our case that we're making to the utilities. So please reach out and I can connect you to the folks working on that here. Oh, wow. Somebody's
Mel,
drawing on the
sorry.
slides. That's cool.
It sounds like your
You're
audio
just more
is
technologically
coming in.
advanced than I am.
Sorry, Mel. It sounds like your audio is choppy. I think your microphone was a little too low there.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, better.
Okay. We're also participating in a time of use rate working group with the Public Service Commission. We're basically exploring rate structures that could reduce the costs for charging electric vehicles for commercial fleets. There's also another component piece of that, which is like residential whole home time of use rates to replace some of the existing EV time of use rates that have not been very well subscribed to. So that's an ongoing process. It will wrap up sort of midsummer, hopefully with a set of recommendations that Pepco can adopt. And then it sounds like there's a lean towards an opt-in rate, potentially transitioning to an opt-out. But with the idea being that the utility can better manage the electricity load, and people can also take advantage of lower rates for using for EV charging. We are also in a 2018 law, there was basically a provision that DOE is supposed to write rules for private for hire transportation. So that's like taxis and Uber and Lyft to submit information about their greenhouse gas emissions and electric vehicles driven on the platform. And so we're in the process of sort of defining the formulas for that and what that report should look like, what should it include, with the aim of getting those companies to start submitting information on electric miles versus miles driven in an internal combustion engine on their platforms. And then we're also trying to overhaul our website a bit to make it a bit more useful to folks looking for resources for installing EV chargers, looking to buy electric vehicles, as well as trying to daylight some of the data around EV registration and chargers, because it's very text heavy, not the most accessible right now. So within the constraints of our website platform, we're trying to make it a little bit more useful. Next slide. And so, yeah, as I mentioned, the alternative fuel and infrastructure credit, we did some work to make the credit more generous over the past year. And there's $1,000 available for installation of chargers at a residential property, and $10,000 available for the installation of chargers at non-residential properties that are publicly available. And we also have some Volkswagen settlement funds. That was supposed to go to the circulator, rest in peace. And because it's not going to that anymore, we are looking to create an incentive program for multifamily buildings, recognizing that there's been sort of less charging available for multifamily housing, and that the majority of people, you know, around 90% of DC residents live in multifamily housing. Around 60% of those people don't have access to a driveway. It's, you know, hard to install an EV charger. And so making some resources available to try and fill that gap and increase access to electric vehicles for those who do live in multifamily buildings. So that is in the works, and we're looking forward to rolling that out soon. And with that, I think that's all I have to offer, but I'm happy to answer questions.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I have a new laptop and it's giving me all type of fits. So I want to thank all three of our speakers. We'll take a few questions. I don't know if we have any questions in the chat from folks that are on. Any questions for our speakers? First thing I want to ask was Brian. Is Brian still on? Brian, the question I had for you was around your program. Can they be located anywhere in Maryland?
Oh yeah, thanks for the opportunity to clarify that. So You must be licensed with the mobile food service license in Montgomery County, but we'll accept the reciprocity licenses from other Maryland jurisdictions. You just need to be registered to do business in Maryland and have your commercial kitchen commissary in Maryland. And because this is a Maryland grant-funded program, but we'll accept the reciprocity license if you're based in Prince George's County, Frederick County, etc.
And are they vendor agnostic? They can be any charging station, any EVSC supplier or
Right.
vendor.
So we're working with a supplier called Jewel Case. They're based out of Idaho. But we are open to any supplier that has the battery that meets the specifications that they want to, make available. We've reached out to a few others, but Jewel Case is the only one who has the product ready to offer right now. If anyone has any other leads, please feel free to send them my way, and we can explore those. We have a number of in-network installers that are part of the financing partners installer network. Again, we don't need to limit it only to those installers. If you have an installer that you prefer to work with, we need a Maryland licensed electrician to be able to do the work. Yeah, so we have a network. We can recommend a few installers, but if you have your own installer, let us know, and as long as they're licensed, we can probably approve them to work on the program.
Okay, so anyone that's on here that's a EV supplier, or vendor, or consultant, or something like that, reach out to Brian. Brian, if you could put your info in the chat for folks, that would be great as well.
Sure thing.
Mel, please clarify: is the DC alternative fuel infrastructure credit currently available or forthcoming? That was Preston Boone said, is that incentive available or is it forthcoming?
Currently available. That's the one that's set to expire at the end of 2026 that we are working to try and continue on in perpetuity.
Okay.
So at least for the next year and a half.
Hopefully it'll be bigger. So we're hoping bigger. Then I wanted to go by Evan. You mentioned, both of you mentioned a couple programs that are available that are grant related. Can each of you just kind of recap those two and how people can apply for those two programs? You're looking for site hosts, and I guess as well, right? I think both of you said you were looking for, one was looking for site hosts.
Was this question? This is to Mel and me. I think we're talking about the same program, which is wonderful and convenient. So we are working with DDOT and DOE on a curbside charging pilot in the district. We are looking for host property partners for the pilot. Is a real focus on multifamily buildings, and to have the chargers be located next to multifamily buildings. Who would be interested in hosting a charger at the curb at no cost to them, and they would get the revenue share back from the charger being located there. So I'll drop my email address in the chat again. So if anyone wants to reach out, there are obviously some things that make certain sites very good candidates for this, and there's some things that make sites not feasible, like if there's a bike lane or a bus lane or a fire hydrant, obviously. But the best way for us to have that conversation is to reach out, send an address for one property or many, and we're happy to do that site evaluation.
All right. I want to give just a couple of our partners and members a chance to give some quick updates. Again, the Earth Day event, we do need more vehicles, so make sure government vehicles are free to display. If you have commercial vehicles, of course, you have to pay. If you are a member or sponsor, if you're a member that pay dues over 3,000 or sponsor over $3,000 or more a year, you can display your vehicles for free and get a free exhibit booth. Okay. But if you're a government vehicle, obviously you're not trying to sell that. You're trying to educate people on that. So you don't have to pay, but you do need to register that by Monday. Okay. Because it's a lot. We're going to be on a space where there's a lot of liability and all that. It's a federal site, so there's a lot of red tape. So just make sure you fill out to display your vehicle. I wanted to give Mike just a quick chance. Mike O'Brien, one of our members and board members. Mike, any updates? You have any industry updates for your company? Mike, going once, twice.
Sorry, hit the wrong button. I hit the video instead of mute. Not anything necessarily, but we are always looking for early stage companies in the clean tech space for investment.
All right, you heard that. Looking to invest, venture capital funds. I know some of you got some emerging technologies, and Mike, just tell them the name of your company real quick.
Sure, it's Shield Venture Capital, SIOL. I got dogs going a little crazy here. And you can reach out to me, mob@siol.vc.
And if you could put that in the chat, Mike.
I can.
That's really important. I know a lot of you are, Brooke, a number of people have venture capital firm projects that they're trying to get capital for. And Mike's the money man. Mike gets venture capital. Jill Hamilton, who's on here, gets grant and other capital for you. So we're trying to bring resources to you for you all.
Mike, I'm going to be reaching out. Yep.
Please do.
All right. All right. So I try to have these resources on here for you. I want to go to Sade Dennis, who's with the U.S. Building Council. She's her organization. We've been working together, and she shows up all the time. Sade, I want to just give you a quick chance to share some of the good work that the U.S. Building Council is doing. Transportation and buildings go hand in hand. Just want to know if there's anything you want to share with the group.
Well, thank you, first of all, Antoine, for all that you do. I mean, you are in so many spaces, fighting every single day, the good fight, and always being in good trouble. And this has been such a great meeting. I've been so inspired by all of the speakers today, from the food trucks to the chargers for the buildings. Of course, we do love buildings here at the U.S. Green Building Council. And all year long, we are convening what we're calling our building transformation forums, across the country. But for me, DC, Maryland, Virginia. So we will be in Virginia and Richmond this month, but we're back in the area in July for an event that looks at resiliency, that looks at quality of life, particular resiliency, like I said. We're excited about that, and I'll share more with Antoine. Hopefully you can pass it on to some of your partners. But I'm looking forward to coming out to the walk, by the way, to spending time and learning more about what each of you all do. But yes, we love buildings, and if you haven't heard already, LEED V5, which is our latest iteration of LEED, is out. It'll be out later this spring. It's been ratified. We're excited to do more when it comes to buildings and spaces. So, we're excited because it looks at quality of life, for decarbonization, as well as equity and a variety of other things. And so if you haven't already, please feel free to go on our website, www.usgbc.org, to learn more. And like I said, we're excited to continue to partner with Antoine and all the work that you're doing. And yes, I was also at the Montgomery County Energy Summit, and it was fantastic. And so we got a chance to meet and talk with so many wonderful partners, and look forward to continuing the work together. Antoine, thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. I want to go to one of our coalition partners, brother, sister organization. I see Matthew Wade is on from Virginia Clean Cities. They also had an amazing road rally last week, and we're on a number of projects together with Virginia Clean Cities, and especially our Northern Virginia project, where we're doing a lot of lot more work in Northern Virginia as well. But Matt, anything you want to report out or just say hi to folks about what's happening in Virginia Clean Cities?
Yeah. Good morning from Harrisonburg, Virginia this morning. Happy to be on the call with everybody, working from home because they're painting and carpeting my office. So get a little home office time. But yeah, I think even you and I are working on the curbside electric project together. And I was just wondering, we get a lot of questions from cities and municipalities and zoning officials, like how are we going to develop a model ordinance for this type of charging activity? Is that something that you're working on with the city or with your city partners?
Yes, definitely. And I would love to put you in touch if you would like to learn more. My colleague Shannon Delaney, who's our Director of Public Affairs, that's what she spends a lot of time doing, because we fully recognize that curbside charging in this country is quite new. And there's a lot of agencies that need to be part of vetting that, being okay with it, asking questions, getting on board, and getting excited about it. So we do a lot of that kind of work. So if anyone here who's with a government agency, municipality would want to learn more, please reach out to me. I dropped my email in the chat. I'll love to put you in touch with Shannon.
All right. Well, thank you all. We have 1 minute left, so I want to wrap things up. First, I want to say thank you to all of our wonderful speakers. You have done great work. We're great partners. We'll make sure Diane will get you a list of all the folks who've asked for sites in DC, so you all can work that list for us. And also with Mel. The other thing I was going to say, please make sure you register. If you want to have a booth or you want to display a vehicle, you have until Monday to do that. But also share the word. Please post it on social media with everything that's going on. This is DC, the DMV. We need to show up and show out and make sure that we have a lot of people out on the mall. And there are good opportunities to make thousands of people out. And I want to make sure you all get some brand exposure. So make sure that you are registered, that you walk, that you exhibit, that you tell your family and friends. Some people are going to be out of town, but millions of people are going to be in the area. Some people are leaving, some people are coming. It's going to be a great event next Saturday, April 19th. Us with WSA 9 and a number of our other partners. So spread the word. I want to thank you all, thank our staff, our consultants, our team, and our board members. We have a lot of board members on. Shout out to Denise and Vanessa that also came on as well, and some other board members I may have missed. Thank you and have a wonderful day. And every day is Earth Day at Greater Washington Region Clean